real thing I have ever experienced in my life. I got fired from working at Red Robin for doing that. When do we get to bury him in a thing and jerk off on him, though? I'd say I could take on 3 11-year-olds. And he clicks the button, and he's just this woman cussing him the fuck out. This is the weirdest theory I've ever heard in my entire life. Well, in a lot of ways, big boys never left. I agree. People tell you I'm a bad driver, but there's no evidence for that. I have intuition and I'm deep in this. Dude, people fall for absolute monsters on a regular basis.
Hi, guys. Welcome to the Two Hippies, One Drunk podcast. I'm your host this week. I'm going to move this over while I intro. I'm your host this week, Tyler Charles. Joining me is Scott Ryan right here. Eric will be on in a little bit. Thank you for checking out the podcast. We do this every Wednesday, so subscribe, like, share our stuff if you can. We do a lot of little videos and promotion on our page too, because we just came off a road trip. So we have a ton of content if you want to check out our page. Also review us on iTunes. That's probably one of the best things you can do for us. Give us 5 stars and that'd be very helpful. I'm thinking anything else. We also do an off the road episode. If you guys want to check out that, we kind of talk about what we did on the road more in depth, because we can only do one episode of that stuff. So that if you want to know about that, check that out too. We do that once a week as well. This episode is I will be hosting, and I'm going to move this back over to where Scott is so you can hear him. Okay.
Wise decision.
Wise decision. I could have just kept it near me. Yeah, it would have still picked you up clear as day. We both know this. So my episode, I've been changing it up. This episode is going to be on Scott and Eric's opinion in dealings with drugs. Could you shut that door so I'm not yelling out to my family about drugs? That'd be good. Okay. There's a little change up in the episode. You're learning things. I'm in my parents' house, and I don't want to yell about drugs.
I did take 6 tabs of acid and smoke some DMT prior to this interview.
To what? To what end? To just not be able to speak coherently into the podcast? Like, what exactly was that for? Who was that for? Was that for me? Was that what it's intended for?
Yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, let's do this real quick before it kicks in.
Yeah, I'm going to get real weird here real soon. Thanks for coming to my parents' house while you did all those things. I'm hoping you're kidding. That's always the hope.
No, 6 tabs of acid, I wouldn't be functional.
Yeah,
you can maybe talk to me and have a weird
You could have taken it as soon as you got in the door and be okay right now.
That's true. It would get progressively weirder over the half hour.
Yes, so Scott likes drugs, clearly. That's what I would say. Let's get into these questions that no one's been wanting to hear. That's what I would say. But they're going to...
Great interview tag.
They're gonna learn nonetheless. I'm gonna make you learn. Yeah, exactly. Aggression. That's how I do things.
Informing the audience that they're not going to like the thing.
Yeah. You won't like this. You should like drugs. Are great. Okay. What are your favorite drugs and why?
Uppers.
Okay. Uppers. No variety of that. It's just uppers.
Adderall, cocaine, Molly.
Out of those 3, which is the best in your opinion?
So if you are with a partner who is down, Molly.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Sex is gonna make it better.
Yeah. No. Same kind of for cocaine, but cocaine's fun all around.
So dirty. I can't. I don't know. All the like Adderall, all right. I could take 1 pill. It'll affect me for like 12 hours. I'm good. I go to bed. I'm fine. It's the best thing ever. Cocaine is like 30 minutes in. Where's more cocaine? And then when it goes away, oh, my bowels are coming out like of my insides. So like, I'm not a huge fan of cocaine.
Okay. See, I would actually say I had a problem with Adderall when I was younger. I don't really take it nowadays for that reason. And I would say the opposite. To me, if I take Adderall, one problem with Adderall is I'm not going to fucking sleep. If I take one at 10 o'clock in the morning, I will be up at 3:00 in the morning the next day, and I
Yeah.
still will not be able to sleep. Cocaine, I can sleep like a baby, like 5 hours afterwards.
5 hours after you can just sleep like a baby. I
Oh,
cannot.
100%.
I
And
feel
you do have to deal with
awful.
coming down. I mean, that does suck, and cocaine, it doesn't last that long. But
it's so dirty. It's like, ugh, it's just so gross to me. It's like snorting bleach. I mean, good for you. I asked you and you like that. Some judgment.
cocaine makes you feel like a god. Like, that's the
For
thing.
like 30 minutes. And then it's like, where's more cocaine?
Yeah.
I need some more cocaine is what that comes down to. So uppers. So no psychedelics wouldn't be on that list, or like any, like
Fuck
even
no,
just
not even
just
close.
weed.
Not even close would it be
You've
on
had
my favorite drugs
it
list.
should be. It's
No.
if we're talking my favorites, definitely one of my
Psychedelics.
favorites.
No, for you
Yeah.
for sure. I borderline.
Weed and psychedelics are my go-to if I'm going to be doing a drug.
Somebody asked, "Where's the drunk?" We take turns
Yeah.
on Tyler's week, so Eric
will be here in a half an hour.
Yeah, but no, I would say, like, for me personally, psychedelics, I'll do them and they could be fun, but they stress me out. I don't really, if somebody says, "Hey, do you want to take mushrooms? Do you want to take acid?" Half of me doesn't want to do it.
Half of me will take your tab and mine.
I believe that.
And
If
have
somebody
a great
says,
old time.
"Hey, do you want to take some Molly?" Yes. What I would almost never say no.
Yeah, fair enough. I even with I'm not a huge fan of Molly just because I haven't had the experience you're describing with it. If you have a partner, good for you. Take some Molly, have some fun. I'm just saying I haven't had that experience. It was it was all right. It was it was fine. It was fine.
See, you've taken Molly once or twice before?
No, more than that, actually, like 3 or 4 times.
You took it at that music festival we went to, right?
Yeah, and then a couple times with one of my old friends.
Okay, so you did definitely have Molly, because the shit you had at the music festival was 100% Molly.
Yeah, and it was like
one problem with that, if you're talking Molly, ecstasy, whatever, people will make these differences.
You gotta be fucking.
No, but beyond that, that helps. People would also say listening to music. I'm not a dancer.
I was listening to music. It was.
But the thing I would say is, a lot of the time when people say they took it and they didn't like it, I always question. I'm like, well, maybe you took ketamine. Maybe you took amphetamines. Like, Molly is a weird one because you don't really know what you're taking unless you have a drug testing kit.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Okay, let's go. Why do you think people use drugs?
Okay, so when I was younger, I would have said because they're fun. And I think that is still definitely true. And even when I had a drug problem with certain drugs, I would be like, yeah, I primarily take it because it's fun. The older I get, the more I think there is something to the idea that if you have an addictive personality, if you are taking a certain drug a lot, even if you're having fun on it, there's a certain level of wanting to escape from regular life that I think also is a factor.
Yeah, escapism is definitely a part of drugs. I feel like it's trying to escape your life or your family or your like relationships or school or
whatever little hole you've built for yourself,
yes.
You get out of for a couple of hours
with some drugs.
Yes,
I do agree. I feel like if you didn't have those holes, there would be a lot less drug use.
Yeah, I know. I've talked to you before about this. I know, Tyler, but there was an experiment they did. It was called the Rat Park experiment, where they had a cocaine bottle for the rats and they had a regular bottle, and they would put a rat in the cage, and the rat would take the cocaine bottle till he fucking died, just till his heart exploded. Over time.
Yeah, because that's that sweet cocaine.
Yes. And then they were like, wow, so yeah, I guess if you give people a supply, they're just gonna fucking be addicted. And then somebody was like, wait a minute, what if we change this experiment? What if we gave the rats things to do? What if we gave them companions? What if we gave them things that a rat would like? And when they did that, a much, much smaller percentage actually had a cocaine problem. And most of them did it recreationally or not at all.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, if you're not wanting for anything, why would you need for fun? I feel like that's the thing. Is like, if you didn't ever get into it and you didn't have you weren't in insane poverty to the point where like drugs are thing that maybe will give you that sweet release. Like you're pretty much in this middle space. If you do have a decent amount of money and like resources and things to do and experiences to have, you don't really need to go down the drug route.
The other factor is human connection, though, because you think about like there is a real thing with wealthy people, middle class people. They have a lot of drug problems too. But there's is a different thing than what you're describing, where that tends to be more so like they're financially taken care of, but they're unfulfilled.
Yeah, that's very true. So that's why you think people do drugs.
Yeah, and very much because they're fun too. It really just depends, but yes.
Yeah, except for psychedelics, apparently, because apparently they're not fun.
Psychedelics are the thing. I have a weird relationship with psychedelics.
We'll get into that.
Yeah,
we'll get into it. Okay. Why do you think only some people get addicted to drugs?
The reasons we were just saying.
Just that stuff. Like you don't think people have predispositions or any kind of like thing in their head, or like maybe genetics?
I think genetics are a thing. I think that's a real thing. But I don't know where the thing is. Like,
so in your rat experiment, what if you had a coke head, and then that coke rat had a coke rat baby, and then had a bunch of babies? Could you wean them off with the fun stuff? Would it stop in one generation if you gave them all the shit?
I think so. People have addict parents all the time and don't become addicts.
That's true.
Right? But I would say, I think it is this weird, complicated amalgamation of things, though, where you go, okay, if you have a parent that is an addict, you are much more predisposed to being an addict. But, maybe your parent also had depression. Maybe your parent also, like, had really high levels of anxiety or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, you inherit your fucking brain from your parents. So.
Yeah, you're definitely getting a lot of things from. That's kind of what I've always thought, that it's like, even if it isn't, like, I don't know, you just developed a way where you had more of that. Like maybe you get more out of the dopamine. Maybe like you experience more pleasure from that thing than most people.
Absolutely.
Or something.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, you're kind of just fucked. Welcome to addiction in your life. More or less.
One thing I think we briefly talked about on this podcast before, and you and I certainly have talked about, is I 100% believe I experience less joy than most people.
Yeah.
On a regular basis.
So drugs probably especially uppers, give you that like, ooh, everything's great. I'm feeling good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to think like when I was taking a lot of Adderall that in a weird sort of way, when unless I had been up for days and was like tweaking, I would be like, I think this is what some normal people feel like on a regular basis.
I mean, probably not. I feel like
enthusiastic, interested in things, like enjoying stuff. I
feel like there's highs and lows of that. I don't think that it's that as a middling thing. I feel like no. Everybody goes through waves of it. I feel like you don't have a constant form of joy.
No, I agree, but I think some people's waves are like up, way higher, and they go up and down, and other people's are lower.
That's fair. And you're probably lower on that spectrum.
Yay!
Yay! Discovering things about yourself. Let's see here. Where was I?
Couldn't tell you.
Do you think all drugs are addictive?
I think everything's addictive. I think if you have an addictive personality, you can be addicted to fucking TV. You can be addicted to sex. You can be addicted to work.
Food.
Yeah, exactly. So
experiences. It's so many things.
No, there is obviously a difference between, if you smoke.
Would you consider that stuff a drug? Like somebody goes on an extreme hike. Would you consider that like that if they're into hiking? And do you think that that's an addict thing where they're like getting that same euphoria as like like somebody doing coke?
Kind of, but I think like the thing is, one thing I've described before is for myself, I absolutely have addict brain. Like I know that, like I will be in the course of enjoying something already in my head thinking about the fact that at some point I'm going to not be enjoying it.
Yeah.
So like for me, like when I've used that wisely, I'm writing a lot. I'm investing in my personal relationships.
Yeah, absolutely.
Things like that. But yeah, it still comes from the same place.
Yeah. No, that absolutely.
And one of the people in the chat actually said, I think everyone is addicted to something.
Well, I think that's
which I do also think is definitely true.
Yep. No, addiction is I mean, how do you break from it? Because it just turns into something else. Because even I feel like when you go to therapy, it's like, don't do drugs, do exercise, or do this to like just change your addiction.
And also fundamentally addiction is I enjoy this thing, so I want to do it as much as I can.
Yeah.
Which is a very human impulse.
I already kind of asked this, but whatever. Are you pro or con psychedelic?
I'm pro mostly.
Okay. Would you ever, I have a question. Would you ever do like an ayahuasca journey?
Yes, but I would be so fucking stressed out about it.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you're doing it the way you should be doing it, which is going into a jungle and hanging out with a shaman and stuff, that whole thing for a trip, for a week-long trip, because they do it like 4 times in a week or whatever to get you acclimated, and then you actually can trip within a couple of days. Like, yeah, you're right. That would be insanely stressful because it's not a vacation. It's like, oh no, I'm going to fundamentally change after I enter the jungle and I speak to a puma.
Okay, so I would think like a good analogy would be, though, I don't think you would be that stressed out about it. You might be to a degree, but you would mostly be excited.
I would be stressed out about ayahuasca because just I hate puking, and like honestly, mushrooms or any acid or anything along those lines, never really puked. I've tried to literally put my fingers down my throat with mushrooms, didn't puke, and like I'm glad I didn't, because that shit is upsetting to me. And I know ayahuasca, like the first time you do it, you're gonna be just barfing, like hurling up your insides.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. But the actual psychedelic experience, I don't.
Yeah, that doesn't really freak me out.
You know what's funny is I was just thinking about a good analogy.
I mean, it might. I shouldn't say that. You have to be humble with psychedelics. That's like a part of it.
What I would say is that, like what we've talked about before, the way you kind of get before you do stand-up comedy, where there's this like, I want to do it. I know I've like committed to doing it. I know I'm going to be glad I did it afterwards, but right now I don't fucking feel good. Like you get in that state of mind with that. That is how I get with psychedelics.
Yeah, the only thing I would say, sometimes you stay in that mindset through the whole trip. I've definitely seen you where you don't fully like let go, and like it kind of makes it worse for you. Because like, yeah, it makes sense you have a like issue with psychedelics, because I feel like that lack of control is very, very upsetting to you, which it is to a lot of people. Don't get me wrong. Like, having that'll fill you. That's your ego. That's who you are. You don't want to let go of that.
Well, and I, you know, everybody processes things different ways. I process things mostly intellectually.
Yeah.
And that aspect of your brain becomes very warped, and it goes away when you're on psychedelics.
Yeah, and you don't, and like honestly, like any kind, like psychedelics too can make it. If you're in a good group, I've been in situations where I feel like a superhuman version of myself, where it's like, oh, I am literally, I know everything I'm thinking and how to solve these situations if I'm talking to anybody or whatever. And then there's been times where I'm like, I think I'm being so freaking weird right now.
You primarily process things emotionally, though, which is a good way to, that's a good zone for psychedelics.
Yeah, because I understand it better. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a comfort zone. It's easy. Yeah. It's like, yeah, that's one reason I like uppers too. Uppers sharpen you intellectually.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Not if you do them too much.
You looked real crazed when you said that. Your eyes bulged out. You're gonna tense. That's just for the viewers. If you want to check it out, we do a live on Facebook. If you ever want to watch. We do have a lot of people downloading this podcast, so like, thank you for one, and also we do it live if you ever want to pop in. All right, so let's get to the next question. What, in your opinion, is the most profound psychedelic experience or related in general you
had? So I grew up a Jehovah's Witness. I think I might have mentioned that before on here. They teach you when you are a Jehovah's Witness that like you're either not going to die, or when you die you're going to be resurrected and you're going to come back and whatever, it's going to be like the blink of an eye and all of this. So I grew up believing I was not going to die, and then
that's kind of true.
Yes, and then when I kind of set that belief system aside in my late teens and early 20s, I really had a hard time grappling with death, and I was kind of obsessed with it. I was it was constantly on my mind, this ticking clock, this feeling of my own mortality and my own dying. And I had a time on mushrooms where I was laying down on your couch. Actually, you guys were going and doing something else, and I was like, guys, I just need a little bit. I'm gonna go sit by myself.
You burned yourself, right? Wasn't that the thing?
I did burn myself. You're right. Yeah, somebody spilled tea on me.
I did.
Yes. Yes.
But it didn't even burn you.
But that wasn't why it did it. But that wasn't why anyway.
I thought that was why you were laying down.
No, it was the real thing was I was very nauseous.
Okay. Sorry.
But no, but you're right. That wasn't that same time period. But so I was laying in there in the room by myself, and the closest way I can describe it is that the specter of death came in the room to me.
As they do.
Yes.
As he does.
Yeah.
The specter of death.
Anybody who's listened to this regularly should know by now I have some pretty fringe ideas about reality. So came up to me, and it was like a willowy blanket, and it started. It
wasn't like a voice or a guy or.
No, it was like a blanket with a face. I don't know how else to describe it.
Okay.
And it was like it moved like a blanket, like it was like in the wind, like, and it came up and it started coming up my legs and up to my stomach.
This sounds like it really be terrifying.
It wasn't though.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Is it was the exact opposite, to be honest. It was the most comforting feeling I had ever experienced in my entire life.
Yeah.
And it continued to come up. And as it reached my neck, I said, "It's not my time yet." And then it said, "No, it's not." And then it drifted away. And ever since then, I've basically completely lost my fear of death.
Weird. Yeah, that is a profound experience.
Yes.
I would say that qualifies. I thought you were going to say the one about where you and I meditated in my closet. Fun times, hippie style.
You know what's funny is that was the other one I was thinking about, but I didn't remember if we talked about it on here before.
I don't remember if we did either. Maybe we did. Maybe we have a lot of episodes, right? I can't entirely remember them all. We are not even going to get to all my questions.
That'll be one in the bank, though. We'll talk about it sometime.
Yeah, I'll definitely bring up that was another time. For me, it would probably be the time where it literally more or less the same thing, not a specter of death, but the feeling of like, it'll be okay when you die kind of thing swept over me on my 30th birthday. And it was very similar to that. Yeah. That shit was wild.
Your 30th birthday, too. I hadn't really ever considered that before. It's a very...
yeah, it was that Kundalini serpent thing you said.
Yep.
It was that, whatever. I don't know. Look it up. I had it happen. It was pretty good. Let me say that. A little bit. Yep.
Yes.
So other questions about drugs. What drugs scare you and why?
Psychedelics.
Is that the only ones?
Meth.
Yeah, meth is a terrifying drug.
I have a hard, fast rule
for
myself.
Benadryl as well. Don't be fucking around with Benadryl.
100%. That's been a thing. The Benadryl shadow people is like a meme at this point. People are aware of that. This is a real thing. Yeah. Definitely experience that. But no, I would say, I have a hard, fast rule. And I have been offered meth before, where I will absolutely, in no way, shape, or form, ever take it. Because if I ever did, that would just be what I would do until I died. And I know myself well enough to know that.
Yeah. You go down quite a path.
Yeah.
Yep.
I guess, heroin gets put in that same place. And I'm sure I could get addicted to heroin. I've never done heroin.
I've always thought that, if I knew I was going to die, just pump me full of heroin.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no. Pump me full. Honestly, I'm throwing a meth party. If I'm gonna die.
Why a meth party? You're just staying up for the whole time?
Yeah, I'd rather do meth than heroin.
I say no. You drift off to sleep in a pleasure bubble.
I'm using the last bits of my health to go hard, and then I'll just I'll just explode my heart right on out of this universe.
What if it would be hilarious if it was like a month from now, you found out? Would you have the funds to do this?
Yeah, meth is not that expensive.
That's true.
Yeah,
but you're just staying in a meth house, doing a ton of meth, living that squalor, and then dying.
No.
Okay.
No, I don't know what exactly my plan would be, but ideally have some sort of a space that's not a meth house.
And do the math.
Yeah, because I would not want to hang out with meth heads.
What would you be doing? What would you do? Would you want to be around? Like, if the thing is, you know you're gonna die. Are you gonna be around family and like friends, or are you gonna be methed out?
I'm gonna say goodbye to everybody.
Hey, bye guys! I gotta get out of here.
Yeah.
Toodaloo!
Yes.
I'm gonna go die in a week. You don't think people will be like, nah, like calm down from the meth and like let's hang out?
No, this is a fantasy. I'm almost positive it would not actually play out that way.
Yeah. Because hands down, that seems real complicated. If you find out you're gonna die and then you immediately just get it on a ton of meth.
Yeah, sorry everybody who loves me, but like,
but I'm on meth now.
Yeah, this is
how you're gonna remember me.
Yeah, this is me time. So see you guys later.
This is me time. Oh God! All right. Well, all right. Yeah. Watch out for if he finds out he's gonna die.
Oh yeah,
he's going crazy as hell.
Give me a cancer diagnosis. I'm doing it with a needle. Like,
what would be, in your opinion, the worst thing you've ever done on drugs?
Worst thing I've ever done on drugs. Okay. I mean, I guess it would have to be being addicted to Adderall when I was younger. Just my general mind.
But like,
state.
what specific thing would you consider?
In that time period, I mean, I stole drugs.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
That would probably legitimately be. I've never been, I don't think I've ever really been somebody who's hurt people or done anything like really
in that
terrible
way.
On drugs,
Yeah. I think mine would be when I had that freak out and I pulled your Xbox out of the wall.
Oh yeah.
That's about it. Like, which is just me freaking out. It's not even like me doing anything.
No, terrible. that was a bad mushroom trip.
Yeah, that was a hell of a time. Well, don't have ego death when you don't know what it means.
Yeah,
that's what I would suggest.
Yeah, no, and that's the only time either one of us has ever had a bad trip, like a real, like you're freaking out. Like,
I mean, you had a bad trip?
No, I'm saying the only time
either one of us
has ever had
a
real like I'm out of my mind freaking out. Like,
yeah, I mean, a quarter of mushrooms and being a teenager and not knowing like what was what, and like honestly not knowing the term ego death.
No, totally.
So it definitely fucked me up. I'm gonna rapid fire these questions so we can get up.
Lightning round.
Lightning round. I gotta find them first. How old were you when you first did a substance? And what was that substance?
Like 16 in cough syrup.
All right, DXM?
Dextromethorphan.
Yes.
Used to steal it.
Do you think drugs can help our society, or they just use it as a crutch?
I am really not a huge fan of the idea that psychedelics are super helpful. I think they can be. I think throwing your brain into shock and altering your reality.
I think you're wrong.
We both had experiences where they have been helpful.
Yeah. Many times.
I
feel like literally the thing you were just talking about then also got your ass in the writing chair and you started writing.
Yes, I also believe that the CIA destroyed the civil rights movement and the anti-war movement with acid, very specifically. So
yeah, but that doesn't have anything to do with the drugs. That's people's evil intent.
No, but it's more than that. It's that it can.
I don't mean be doing acid every day, all day. Yeah. I'm saying like you're going through a traumatic experience. It definitely can help you.
Yeah,
I feel like absolutely takes you out of that situation, allows you to look at it from a different perspective, is what I would say.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I think amongst a lot of people our age and amongst a lot of the common culture nowadays, there is an idea that it is very good and helpful. And I really am not necessarily totally on board with that.
I am on board with that. I think microdosing is a godsend. I think that mushrooms are our communication to the nature world. And I don't know what you're talking about. Meditate. Take some mushrooms and meditate. That shit's way crazier.
Yeah.
Way more profound.
To anybody using psychedelics on a regular basis to improve their life, I'd be like, you know what? Maybe it does sometimes. I'm sure it does, in fact, because I've had experiences. I'd be like, you'd be better off meditating.
I think you'd be better off meditating with a dose. That's personally my. It's not like I'm doing all the time. I think that it's like every a year to a couple of years, like you should do it. I have done a lot, but I also like think that they are good for you. They're a good reset for your whole fucking brain.
Yeah, and the thing is, and I know we got to wrap it up, but I would just say, like, I'm not even totally against that idea. It's more me pushing back against the fact that it swung so far the other way than a lot of people.
Let's leave it on this. What have drugs taught you?
That reality is amorphous. That reality is not this large. It's not this solid, unmoving, objective thing.
Okay. All right. Cool. And that was Scott. Doing stuff. So we're gonna get Eric on here. He's popping up.
All right.
Move everything now. This looks and sounds better. Boo-doo-boo-boo.
Oh my god, this was much nice. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no.
This was much better. No, what I was going to say is not to just keep harping on the injury, but better the last time we did this. It was fun when I was talking to you, but then like I had left the room and I didn't have the sling yet. We hadn't decided to get the sling yet, and I was just like down in the lobby like moaning, and there was like a family down staring at me. And I'm just like sitting with my arm like holding it, going. You know what I mean? So this was nicer than that.
That's hilarious. I forgot that that's the last time we did an episode of mine.
Yeah.
Straight up was. What was that?
Crazy.
On? It was worst things you've done. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now this is drugs. Welcome to drugs. Something you have some experience in, but not a ton.
Well, the reality is, here's the problem. Alcohol is a drug, obviously.
Yes.
But like I tell so many of my drunk stories. But unfortunately, I don't have many other stories, but it's few.
It's more opinion based. Trust.
Yeah. Okay.
Getting right into it with, I mean, and this includes alcohol, which I feel like that's going to be a lot of these questions. But what is your favorite drug and why?
I mean, if I wasn't scared of doing it. People can say whatever they want. People can go, oh, it's not that bad, or it's this or that. All I know is like I'd only did a few actual drugs a few times, and the times I did acid, I really liked it. Although even the second time I did it, I liked it for a while. Then I took I accidentally bought more than I thought. So then like I took more, and for a little bit was going through quite a situation where I literally was terrified. And like it's funny because I was at a music festival, and I didn't even. It's not like I even went over to the hot dog stand. I was right next to the like help booth, like, and I'm just puking my guts out into the toilet or into the trash. No, into the trash can, and it just seems odd that someone didn't sit there and be like, hey, you okay? I mean, I understand it's a music festival. Right. I understand it's a music festival. I understand there's a lot of stuff going on, but I was violently throwing up and I feel like you could tell, like, it wasn't to me what it would have looked like being drunk. Like, I think I would have looked like the ground. I felt like the ground was moving.
Oh no, acid is way different than being drunk.
No, but I'm saying, but how they would have seen me. I still think they would have seen. It still seems like someone might have been
thought
like,
that
hey,
you were drunk.
You okay, buddy? Even if I was drunk, I'm throwing. I
mean, if you're right outside the help thing,
and it wasn't like this was 11 o'clock at night. It wasn't like this was 11 o'clock at night. This was at like 4 p.m, and I'm violently throwing up in the.
Was this on the first day?
No, it was a second or third day or something.
Maybe they were just like already like desensitized to it.
Maybe
it's like we've seen so much puking.
But I liked that so much. I don't know if I'll ever do it again because I don't care what people tell me about how it's actually safer than alcohol or this or that. The problem is, to me, I can drink alcohol and I can stop. I can't stop those things once they start. And I'm such an overthinker is the problem.
Yeah, no, and acid lasts so long, you don't really have to worry about it.
Right. But having said that, the times I've done it, other than a half an hour at that one point where it was a little too much, I loved it.
Yeah.
Quite a bit.
No, it's a hell of a drug.
And I would, if I knew that I'm just such an overthinker, and that's gotten even worse. If I knew I could do it and I wouldn't have some crazy, I don't even mean like just a bad experience I mean like something that fucks me up. Like I'm so terrified. I don't know if it's just from drug,
just like going in a terrible fucking state of mind or something.
Yeah.
No, that's understandable.
That would do it all. I would do it way more if I didn't have that thought in my head. And at festivals, I would do that over drinking by far because of the fact that it's cheaper and it lasts
way
longer.
Better for music, and you get it gives you kind of like an Adderall buzz.
Yeah,
keep going and stuff.
So I don't know.
No, I was gonna say definitely mine would be acid or weed. But weed is a necessity. It's not entirely like a want.
I mean, it's a necessity for you.
yeah, that's what I mean. Like for myself.
I always wondered, like, how imagine if you had that same addiction to alcohol, because alcohol is you can't sit there and just drink out. I mean, people do, I guess, but you cannot sit there like a buzz like alcohol. I mean, if I just sat there and been like, oh, every 2 hours I need to have a 40 ounce.
Yeah, serious.
That it would be terrible. You'd get headaches and stuff. Like it would be.
It'd be very awful.
To keep an alcoholic buzz going would be brutal, and I like it.
Okay. Why do you think people use drugs?
Duh. Like, because they're awesome.
I love you and Scott. Scott's good because they're fun.
Right. Like, why do I like money? I don't know. Because it buy things.
They could be there's terrible experiences with drugs, like what people doing. I guess.
Yeah, there's terrible experiences with everything.
The first time, I guess.
Here's the like the best way you can just like think of, like, there's stories of animals in the fucking jungle, and if they find the leaf that gets them high, they fucking sit there and get high, like because like, I mean, you know what I mean? People fucking love that feeling, obviously. I used to ask my buddy one time, I'm like, life is fucking awesome, and for most people they enjoy it. Like, I fucking love it. I don't want to die ever. And yet I told him, like, and yet I will fucking do this other thing that I feel enhances it, even though it's dangerous for me and could cause harm. I'll do it. And most people will do it until someone tells them you have to stop. But like, you like life. Most people do. Like, I know you like life, but like, still people will do all this shit knowing it could hurt them in some way.
Enhances it. Like that. My thing with that is it's a part of life. It doesn't.
But it doesn't have. But that's. I would disagree with that.
I mean, you could. Why would it not be a part of your diet if you were like a person in the middle of the woods or something? Like, you could still be accidentally eating some psychedelics.
You could, but I would disagree that it's a part of. I mean, it is in the sense that it's here. It's here. I get that.
A lot of it we didn't even create, so I would feel like that it is not. It's not like a man-made thing, like all.
Yeah.
I mean, Coke, I guess, or meth. I guess there are a lot of them. That
really, other than pot, and even pot. I mean, I guess pot's the closest.
Mushrooms, like we created acid, but ayahuasca. That's
but even alcohol, you have to create and find a way to create. I don't know.
Distill it or whatever. You're right.
I disagree with that. I disagree with
half wrong.
I disagree with that, but I would say it's so good and it's such an enhancement of what we have. That people are willing to do it mostly until they're told they can't anymore.
I mean, you're kind of always on, like you said, like living life is kind of its own drug. Like your brain releases dopamine, so like you're kind of on drugs all the time.
But I mean, I would do all of them more without repercussions. I guess but that's life.
Why do you think only some people get addicted to drugs?
I mean, because we're all different. I mean, we're not robots, and like I always say, like it's fascinating. As I've gotten older, I've gotten more fascinated with how different people can be, and you can get 3 people in a room that don't agree that Taco Bell is incredible. Like you could get 3 people,
Yeah.
and some person might say Taco Bell's terrible.
Yep.
They're a moron, but but you'll find it. So as far
that is hilarious.
As far
But
as what's
they are stupid. Fuck
why do
those
people get addicted?
Delicious.
I think that for whatever reasons, some people have a thing in them. I used to think for a long time that I used to tell people I had an addictive personality, and I think I do to an extent. But until I met, I found someone who has a real.
I feel like you don't have that you have a thing that like an insane drive that makes you fucking like all in on things.
Yeah,
but I don't really feel like it is an addictive kind of thing. Like you're not
right.
You don't just sit there and like I would say if you have an addictive personality, it would be towards doing shit.
Yeah.
Like not an actual drug or anything else, because the only thing I ever think of you just doing constantly is working for that next thing that you're doing.
But I used to think I did. I used to describe to people that I thought I used to say gambling, for example. I'd be like, I love gambling, but I know because I'm cheap, I know that I can't lose a certain amount of money. I would, if I had more money, I would gamble more money. But from knowing Scott, and not to be mean to him, but I mean someone who really has much more on that level.
He definitely has more of an addictive personality.
If there's 1 to 10, maybe I'm a 2 and maybe he's an 8. But on a scale, because like for example, on the trip, when I introduced him to that Vegas slots game, and
oh no, he went hog wild,
and it was all of a sudden now it's like literally every second I'm like, and I remember at one point finally, like you and me we're all in the car together, and he's like, I think this is what I think. I think about, this is a strategy, and this is not. I'm not saying this bad is bad, because we were in the car, and I was like, I think you're spending too much mental on this, man. Like, it's nice and everything, and it can win a few points. But finally, seeing someone with more of that level made me realize I have a much smaller scale than I thought. Maybe there's a little in there, but I have enough will, I guess. Either I don't have it at all, or I have enough will to fight it, or know boundaries are more.
Yeah,
not as much with alcohol.
It just affects people differently.
Yeah,
my thing is, I don't entirely think it's a will thing. I think it's like some people are way more inclined to be like.
That's what I really think. That's what I said. Yeah. That's what I really think. I don't think it's a will thing. I do think also, at times when I was younger, I don't know what abused alcohol on a mass scale in my younger years, and but I don't remember. I never felt like I was addicted to it. And the thing I would say is that I never woke up the next morning. Like I would do it at NASCAR or Vegas, but other than camping or Vegas, I would never wake up and be like, I need a drink again to get rid of the shakes or the quote unquote hair of the dog. I never did that shit ever. I'd be done.
Yep.
And until 2 weeks or whenever I drink again, I guess.
Yeah. It is
anyway,
weird to me that you're not. No, I was going to say it is weird to me that like you aren't more addicted to alcohol. Cause like I've been around, like when we were on the trip, like it wasn't even like Scott drank more than both of us.
Right.
And like, not that he was getting hammered every night, but it was just like,
no, I know.
You and I drank like 1 beer. Scott would have 2 or 3.
I would only have like 1. Maybe 2 at a comedy thing if it was for whatever reason,
and we're hanging out
we're hanging out. Yeah. I always said that's why when you talk about alcohol, we were listening to this Always Sunny podcast and they had the same discussion. But when you talk about alcoholism, I don't think I'm an alcoholic, but I've also always said I drank too much in my life for sure at times. And at times I was definitely pushing a boundary of probably very dangerous for me.
I would say,
but I've never needed it
because you don't have that like mentality. Like I feel like, I don't know. I feel like when you could hang out at a bar by yourself and have 1 beer. Yeah, and I have before. Or gone out to a night with your friends and then got hammered. Yeah. You don't need to do that the next night.
Oh, yeah. I almost never do. Like I said, the only time I've ever drank in 2 days in a row like that are on vacation settings. Never in real life have I just gone up.
That's allowed. Like you're supposed to be getting fucked up at that point.
But I mean, the thing the only reason I ever thought I bordered in the line of alcoholism is in the sense that I would always be the last guy. Like we'd be at car and people would start going around to bed, like say 1-ish, maybe even 2. I'd be up till 4, you know what I mean? Like by myself still, just drinking. But I don't know, whatever.
No.
What are you gonna do?
I don't know, whatever.
Boys will be boys.
Okay. Are you? So we have kind of already discussed this, but like, so you are pro psychedelics. Do you think that psychedelics?
Look at this guy. It's funny. I've just become so infatuated with Joe. You know, he lives in like Sweden or some shit.
He lives in Canada. I just sent him.
Canada.
He bought a picture to
nice
yesterday.
I've always infatuated with him because he goes because I like making fun of him. He goes, have a good trip. Headed to the hospital with the kid. Hey,
what?
You got free healthcare over there. Wait a fucking 15 more minutes and then take him or her after this. Like,
there might be a line because of the free healthcare, though. Maybe there's like
maybe.
People.
Well, still,
I
mean, I sat there with a broken shoulder for a day and a half. They can wait. I'm just kidding. Kidding.
Yeah, your kid can wait. What?
There's 15 more minutes.
Sorry about your child. I don't know what happened with that.
Well, actually, 15 more minutes and then the other.
To get better.
Yeah, 15 more minutes and then the other episode. So just another hour and then you'll be fine.
Yeah, you'll be all right.
All right, go ahead.
No, so yeah, you're pro psych. Do you think that psychedelics? Because how many times?
Joey, I do not hate you. I'm so kidding. I hope you realize I'm being a fucker.
Yeah. No, you're great.
I'm messing around. Take your kid to the hospital. My God.
Yeah, good Lord. Why are you still talking to us?
You're right.
Go to the hospital, sir.
Right. It's fine. We're on YouTube.
So thank you for the view. We're so important that like he waited a bit so he can message us.
I appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you.
Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
No. Do you think because you like I said, how many times have you done psychedelics?
Only twice with the acid, and then I took a very, very low level of shrooms one time because I was paranoid. So I don't think I really.
So you didn't want to like take more.
I don't know that I experienced that. I think I had a very mild like body high, but very, very mild.
Yeah.
Gummies aren't a psychedelic, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they're not. No, they'll fuck.
Okay, I wouldn't consider. Okay.
Yeah.
So 2.25 times. I guess that's it.
Okay. So not a huge there's a huge perception that they're healing and they help you through a lot of things. Did you experience any kind of like profound moment in your trips, or was it just fun? Or
I think that someone told me, I guess, and that's why I liked it so much, is that it did bring you back almost to like a kind of a childlike laughter or something. And I know the one time something made me laugh to the point where I was laughing for about fucking a half an hour about something that made no sense.
That $180.
Yeah. That trying to buy that fucking
go ahead.
$80 for like. Yeah, okay. So so the first time I ever did them, it took these guys a day and a half, I think, to talk me into doing it.
Yes.
And I did a very low amount, and they told me like, oh, and you'll know it, you'll feel it, because it's not like alcohol. I'm so used, I've never done it, so they're like, you'll know it when you feel it. And all of a sudden, we got to this place where they were selling these tapestries, and one of our friends couldn't go, and I was like, maybe we should buy one for him. And there was a small size, medium size, and like a very large size. And I was like, how much do you think this one is? And I swear to God, I didn't even feel like I was feeling it yet. So like I kind of was.
Yeah.
But I swear to God, I didn't remember thinking like, oh my God,
that was like the come up. That was
it like
very
boom,
early.
It happened in a second. Whereas like, how much is this tapestry? And like, you're like, I don't know, I was
separately talking to someone else about one of the art pieces that was smaller. Clearly, the tapestry was giant, and I was like, "Oh, that's $80." And he's like, $80? What the fuck do you mean? I literally could not stop laughing.
No, I laughed for probably a half an hour. I think I got to the ground just laughing, and I just kept repeating the word over it. $80. My actual favorite part of that one wasn't even the $80. That was the first one, but was like. They had those little bags, and it was at the Electric Forest in Michigan, and it had these little bags
that was cool.
Where you could draw on the bag, and then you'd put a little lamp in there, and at night they'd be lit up. And we were looking at the one I had done, and one of you guys said to me, like, hey, your bag is fucked up, referring to the bag that I had drawn. And I just said, dude, your bag's falling apart. And I just like, I know, dude, I'm fucked up right now. And I wasn't referring to the bag at all. Like I was just like,
Just like, no, yeah, my whole bag's
Yeah, you're like, your bag that you made is falling apart. I'm like, I know, I'm fucked up right now. Or something. And then the other thing I would say is when I did it in the other festival in Atlanta, there was this lady walking around selling these pins, and I bought one. It's up here, I think. This one, I got it right here. Yeah, this thing right here. And she was selling this.
Yeah.
And it's like an iron with, there's also like a shit in there. I don't know. And I started going like, whoa, what is this, man? What is this? And I was just staring at it. And I literally, and then I was like, started crying and telling her like, where'd you get this? And she's like, oh, my husband makes them. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, tell him these are beautiful. Like, these are, let him know. These are so beautiful. Yeah, it's right here. It's right there. And then I just stared at it. I stared at it for like an hour.
And then bought it.
And then, well, I bought it and then I stared at it for an hour.
Oh, okay.
She didn't. I didn't make her sit there for an hour. But
that's what I was thinking. She's like, are you gonna get that thing? Or are you just gonna
no, but yeah, and I was like telling her, tell him these are just beautiful. These are so beautiful.
Did you like buy it and then just stand there at the kiosk and look at it?
She was coming up to our campground, so luckily we were in the campground.
Oh, okay,
still.
so she left.
And the reason I did more than yeah. So,
okay.
So I mean, I loved them. I loved doing them. I just have a fear that I like. I would do them more. I would do that more if I felt like good about it. But
no,
maybe I will someday. Maybe I will someday.
Should. Maybe
I probably will. I think I'd have to have someone I knew that knew it very well. Knew I wasn't. I wouldn't want to just buy it from somebody. I'd want to know it was good.
Yeah, good stuff.
And low level at first. Again, I would not, because what happened was when I was with you guys, I did, I guess, like say a half. And when I was at this festival, which was only a few months later, I bought what I thought was a full one, thinking I did a half, and that was good, but it only lasted like not that long in the end, and it was weaker because you guys were around me having more fun because you did more or something. And so I thought I was buying one, and it turns out I was buying two. And so when I took the one during the campground, I thought, oh my God, I'm having so much fun. I only took a half. This is great. And then we got in line to go to the festival, and I took the other one, and it was like the sun was beating down on us. I'd been drinking beer all day.
Yeah, that's not a good combo.
And I basically like thought I took twice as much as I thought I was taking. And
you need to definitely take you need to go on a camping trip and like do a little thing in the woods or something.
I think I would worry that would freak me out only because
you do it during the day.
Okay. Yeah, that does sound fun.
Yeah, it is.
Maybe we'll work something out. We're gonna go camping up in middle of northern Vermont. Maybe we'll work something out for there.
Yeah. All right. Enough about our conversation about our drug.
Okay, sorry.
But our drug deal.
I've kind of hijacked that.
Honestly, that sounds fucking awesome. I'm hype about it as well. What drugs are you scared of and why?
Heroin and meth for sure. I would never do them no matter what.
I was talking to Scott about that. I was like, if I knew I was going to die, I would be like, you pump me full of heroin. Like, because it feels good. And
I would, if I got a death sentence, I would do heroin. But the only problem is I don't like needles.
Like, I'll do a ton of meth. And I was like, that sounds like an insane way to spend the last bit of your life.
The only worry to me, by the way, is there are stories of doctors telling people, like I know someone in my own life that in the last 2 years, two doctors told them they might have literally 6 months to live and they're still alive. That happens, by the way. Doctors tell them that, and then they go off on a trip, max out their credit cards or some shit, and they're like, "Oh, I'm still alive."
Still alive. That sucks.
But
absolutely.
I would do heroin and meth both. I'm not saying I would just coke myself out on them, but I would do them both if I thought I was going to die.
If you knew
I was going to die.
Yeah. You can't know. It's not like God's like, hello, you're going to die tomorrow.
The only thing with heroin is I don't like.
Scott said meth.
I can't do the needles. I'd have to do heroin a different. You know, you can do heroin different ways. I'd have to do it. I don't like the needle. thing. So
I mean, have you ever gotten blood taken and stuff?
I hate it.
Okay.
I turn my eyes. I fucking. And if
did you have to get blood work done for your arm?
No, not yet. I have not. I haven't had it since in a while. But I would say I turn my head. I blah blah blah. Yep. And the problem was with even if I knew at that point I was gonna die, I would be so scared of like this weird thing going into versus taking a pill or something, I guess.
Okay. How old were you when you first did a substance?
Very old. I didn't have any connections growing up. I wasn't cool. So I didn't drink until I was the very first beer. I was at a NASCAR race, and it wasn't even like we got people all day. There was the race, and then they had a post-race concert for free, and it was 3 doors down. And we were sitting there, and me and my one friend paid this guy like $10 a piece for like a 12-ounce can of beer.
$10?
And I was so worried to get one caught, and two, because I had heard that you get sick from drinking. I was worried if I drank it too fast, I would get sick. And I'm talking one beer, dude. Not we started drinking in the morning and I started, shit, I'm talking one beer.
Yeah.
And so I sipped on this one beer for like 40 minutes.
How old were you?
Fucking 19.
Oh, God. Yeah, my parents gave me like, sometimes when they'd have parties, they'd be like kind of cool with like wine.
Yeah.
Wine.
No, mine weren't like that at all. I had this one beer in August 2019. I don't know what year it was, but when I was 19, then I had 3 beers on New Year's of the year I turned 19 to 20, and I literally got fucked up off 3 beers. I remember, and there's like video mixes. Awesome! I want to do this all the time.
what a
3 beers
moment.
Right, 3 beers.
I want to do this all the time.
I wish I could go back to that me that had 3 beers and thought it was just the best thing ever.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of saw him in Charleston.
There's several beers. I'm talking having just 3 beers. Like I didn't even have a hangover from that. As I should.
Yeah, I mean, it's only 3 beers.
Right.
It's not a lot. Even though you thought you were getting hammered.
Right.
Okay, so let's finish this up with have drugs taught you anything in this life?
To me personally,
yeah, hell yeah. Like do them and have fun.
Man, that's a good question. It's actually a really good question. I think the drugs have taught me, if I had a lesson from drugs, I would say, good lesson to say that, hey, things in life, it's good to have good things. It's good to feel good, but it's good to remember that, that those shouldn't, everything in moderation. I know I don't always practice that, but alcohol has been for me a good lesson of like, hey man, this is good, but
don't keep doing it.
Right. It's moderation shit, man.
Yeah.
So like I think
pound 10 beers
every day anyway.
Every day.
On a regular basis.
I mean, sometimes you can. You're right.
Because I used to go to NASCAR races and crush 30 in a day.
Events 30 in a day. That would kill me. That would straight up give me alcohol poisoning.
I know. I mean,
at my height, I
right?
Be
so
dead.
It's taught me. Alcohol has taught me. Even though I love it, and even though I wish in a way I could go back to my 20s, it's taught me, realizing that you have to take care of your body a little more, and it's fun, but you can't do it all the time.
No, absolutely.
And in reality, in movies, it's depicted the happy fucking out the loser. I used to always onto the very like kind of out of control alcoholic in movies. I used to almost very feel romanced about it, the idea of the guy just every day at the bar, and part of me still thinks that's cool, but in real life you learn that is not a good.
That's a sad look.
Yeah, and it's gonna be very bad for you. Yeah,
that's what I like. I don't know, alcohol,
because I like life and I like living very much. I'm not trying to kill anything, So
Yep. Not trying to kill anything except your liver.
Yeah.
At some, you're probably gonna be fine. You did it when you were younger, and I feel like you've kind of leveled off with that stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Like like we already kind of discussed. I feel like you really don't have an insanely addictive personality. I feel like
I know. I say that
kind of go extreme with the things you do, but pull back when you need to.
I'll say this. I have mostly got over the fact that I can't drink like I used to. Yeah. But there are times when for something happened to me. I don't know if it's because of how much I drank. I don't know if, there could be reasons for it, but something happened to me where I can no longer start at noon and expect to go till 12 o'clock at night. And it's like, literally I'll black out. I won't make it.
Yeah.
And it's not even just, I'll be tired. No, I will.
It's not happening.
It will have a very bad consequence. Yeah. And as bad as that is to be doing, there are small parts of me that miss that, because I really, like, when I would go to NASCAR, man, wake up at 10 in the morning, dude. Well, I never woke up that early, but like that late. But like, I'd wake up at 8, but by 10 in the morning, making bacon and eggs and cracking a Busch Light and stuff. And it's like, to kind of know I probably can't do that anymore does bum me out.
End of an era.
Yeah.
end of you getting like fucked up for an entire
and then the thing is, I wouldn't even be fucked up. That would be so weird about it. I'd be like, I would just have this constant buzz, but I didn't like, if I did that now, if I started at 10 a.m. by now, by 1, I would be out of control drunk. But back then it would be like, really, I would just like, dude, we'd walk into the NASCAR track because you could bring as many as you wanted. And I would start at 10 in the morning and we'd bring 30 into the track. And we'd be just one after another. And I do miss that. But it is what it is.
That's fair. No, I've definitely had experience, especially living with my parents. Drugs is not something I get to entirely do all the time.
Right.
Not that you should do them. This is not like don't do drugs. Do them.
It's do drugs responsibly.
Fun. Yeah, just do them in moderation. Check them out.
Everything in moderation, man.
The ones that are not meth, heroin, and crack.
I agree with that.
Avoid those. That'd be great.
I would not recommend those in moderation. I'd recommend those as
just don't do them.
Those are
they're on the no list. Yeah,
they're deathbed drugs. You do them when you're dying. Deathbed drugs. Those are like, I'm about to die. Fuck it.
I like that. I like deathbed drugs. Okay, we're going to end it on that. Check out our episode next week. I believe it's Scott. He's not here right now, so he can't really give you a teaser. But check that episode. And we will be having, at some point this week, our off-the-road episode.
Oh, we're not doing that today. My bad.
We are not. Yeah, Scott had to get out of here.
Gotcha.
That's why.
Okay.
First, any podcast talk. So just check out our episode. We will talk to you sometime this week, and subscribe, and review us on iTunes. That really helps us, and appreciate it. Download the episode. See you guys next week.